Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Metcalf's Movie Journal. This is the show where I do quick reviews for the movies that I watch, give them a score out of 10, and then add them to my list. So let's see what movie I'm reviewing today. On May 19th I watched Young Frankenstein, which came out in 1974. And this is only the sixth Mel Brooks film that I've seen so far, but it's easily the worst of the bunch, with the order currently going: number 1, The Original Producers; number 2, Blazing Saddles; number 3, Spaceballs; number 4, History of the World Part 1; number 5, the remake of The Producers; and now number 6, this entry, Young Frankenstein. It's crazy that this came out the same year as Blazing Saddles, not only from Mel Brooks' standpoint as a writer and director, because he must have been insanely busy, but even more impressive is the two acting performances by Gene Wilder. His turn as the Waco Kid is probably the funniest character in Blazing Saddles, a movie filled with talent, and his performance here as the grandson of Dr. Frankenstein is the only thing that kept this one watchable, at least until that fantastic musical number near the end. The story is a pretty straightforward spoof of that classic Frankenstein story, with Wilder's character, Frederick Frankenstein, initially doing everything he can to separate himself from his crazy grandfather, before he of course ultimately ends up performing the exact same experiment, all thanks to maybe the most famous assistant of all time, Igor, played by Marty Feldman. And Marty Feldman's eyeballs probably deserve their own distinct mention in the credits, because that's probably the only thing you'll notice about his character. Seriously, he has a hump on his back and it's a running joke that it keeps switching sides, but I was hardly able to notice, because I kept thinking this guy's eyeballs were going to fall out. There was room for this one to be funny, but the jokes never got much beyond generic cringy dad jokes, and maybe it's the simple fact that this was rated PG and Blazing Saddles got the R rating, but they aren't even in the same ballpark in terms of laughs, except for that one favorite moment of mine at the end. It's the only part of the movie that really had me laughing, and not in a simple ha-ha kind of way, but a full-on belly laugh, which is pretty hard to get for me. But basically the whole movie builds and builds to the big reveal of the monster finally able to speak, or rather sing his first words. And I don't want to spoil it, mostly because I know I couldn't do it justice, but suffice it to say that the actor everyone probably better knows as the dad from Everybody Loves Raymond, Peter Doyle, does the absolute most with what by all rights could have been a nothing performance. If you have no interest in seeing this one, I'd at least search up Puttin' on the Ritz, the musical number I'm talking about, since it was easily the funniest part of this whole thing. Very much in the same way that I thought the Spanish Inquisition song was far and away the best thing from History of the World Part 1, I just think Mel Brooks has a real talent for these climactic musical numbers. I seem to remember it being springtime for somebody. It's clearly a Mel Brooks movie. His style rings true throughout, but sadly it just doesn't begin to measure up to those other pillars of classic comedy he's responsible for. So I ended up giving it a 3 out of 10, and it landed at number 1307 on my list, putting it right here, in between Assassin's Creed and Alien vs. Predator. And as always, thanks for watching. Hey everyone, thanks for watching another edition of Metcalf's Movie Journal. Be sure to click like and subscribe for new videos every week, and if you have a movie that you really want me to watch, be sure to drop me a comment.